Thank you, everyone, for joining the February DFWTRN webinar. I'm Doug Rourke, president of the DFW Texas Recruiters Network, and we are one of the largest recruiting organizations in the country and the founding sponsor of the RTOY Award with Dallas HR. We host one of the largest on-site global TA days outside of pandemic, and we invite industry experts to lend their knowledge to talent acquisition strategies so that recruiters can work smarter and not harder. So we appreciate you coming out today. We've got a great topic, great speaker. I do want to say thank you to our sponsors, which is Hiring Transform, Divergent Academy, Visage Jobs, Skill Survey, Labor IQ by ThinkWhy, and WorkHuman. So without their help, we'd not be able to do this. So we really appreciate them helping sponsor the recruiting and HR and talent acquisition. Wanted to remind you guys that job postings are free for members in our organization. So be sure to get a membership with DFWTRN. They're very economical and you can post your jobs for free. And if you're not a member, we have low cost $25 job postings so that your job postings can go out in front of talent acquisition professionals into our member base. We've got over 2,000 plus members. I wanted to let you know that the HR Stars Award Gala is this Saturday, February 19th at the Westin Galleria. The event is sold out. We're very excited about that. DFWTRN is sponsoring the RTOY Award for the Recruiting Team of the Year. And this year's finalists are High Profile Staffing, Advent Health, and Matrix. So good job, everyone, and good luck on the nominations. And we wish you the best. Today's speaker is Mike Batman Cohen, sourcing and recruiting guru and founder.
Oh God, no, please, yeah, please don't read that. I hate that so much. I hate that. I'll do it about me. It like literally makes me cringe when people read like a bio or an about me. I'm just like, no. I was like, I feel really awkward.
Okay, we'll turn it over and let you take it from here and talk about today's topic.
So I appreciate that. Thank you. Thanks. Sorry for interrupting. The second I hear it, I'm like, oh no. Hey everybody, welcome. I'm Mike. People call me Batman. I'm cool with either. My wife's never going to call me Batman, so Mike will be around forever. Today's topic is Google Sheets. There's very limited slides. It's just to kind of demonstrate what we're talking about. And then ultimately, we are going to be jumping in to a live training. And by live, I mean I actually have a sandbox set up for you guys. I'm putting it in the chat right now. So I want you to go here. That is true, Glenn. This is not my legit hair color. Go to the link I just put in the chat and make a copy. Go to File, make a copy. That is going to be your training ground. And it is literally set up to go through each of the things that we're going to be covering today. We are not going to get to all of this today. This took me almost 3 hours to get all the way through in a training I did recently. So I'm going to do my best to fly through as much as I can. I am going to be going really fast. I talk really fast. I move really fast. I have ADHD, so apologies in advance for that. I will be monitoring the chats. If you see my eyes glancing over here, I'm looking at the chat. If you see my eyes glancing over here, I'm looking at Jim Schneider. And otherwise, yep. And otherwise, hit me in the chat with any questions that you guys have. It's supposed to be a training, not me lecturing for an hour. I don't want to hear my own voice for an hour. So by all means, ping me. All right, let's get this rocking and rolling. Cool. I'm assuming y'all can see my screen. Jim, can you make a funny face if you can see my slides? That was not a funny face. That was a thumbs up. That's all right. Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that. So Google Sheets for recruiters, other people too, but like mostly recruiters. Cool. So that is not what I want. Thank you, though. Great. So really quick intro on me. I don't, as you can tell, love talking about me. I guess I'm a sourcing subject matter expert. I own a company that does sourcing on a contract basis. We are extraordinarily different in how we do it. We use the most technology of any company in sourcing in the world. That includes Google and Facebook and Amazon. And it's a cool model. If you like data and you've got top of funnel issues, give me a call. Don't call me. I'm a millennial, actually. Just email me. This is my founding team. We currently got 2 more folks, but we haven't all been together due to what's going on in the world. So I haven't updated the picture yet. I do love speaking at conferences. I love training, and I also like being the center of attention. If you know me, that is pretty obvious. I also am an indoor cycling instructor because I like being the center of attention, and I like electronic music. I do like challenging myself. It's been a few years, but I used to try doing one really like aggressively difficult physical thing each year. 2017 was the New York Marathon. 2018 was running half Ironman or doing a half Ironman. So I'm kind of a big fan of kind of taking what's out there and pushing a limit if I can. I do love GIFs and memes. If you don't love GIFs and memes, sorry for the next hour or whatever. These are my dogs. I love them more than most people I've ever met in my entire life. That's Blue and that's Honey. Except for this human, who is the one I love more than any human I've ever met in my entire life. It's my wife. It's Crystal. Jim, you've met her actually. She is literally the most interesting human I've ever met. And she is the reason I'm able to be here today talking to you, because of her support. So what's up, Dave Marr? Yeah, I love this idea of Flossom. I just keep it in here because I think like we're all totally effed up and awesome all at the same time, and we can hold those simultaneously. Which half did I do, Jody? I did the oil man in Conroe for the half Ironman. So we're going to go over navigating Google Sheets, which is just like, how do you look like, what do the buttons and stuff do? So Glenn, you can go to sleep for the next like 20 minutes. Basic formulas. And then I don't know if we're going to get to the advanced formulas. Typically by that point, most people's ears are bleeding. So I'll do my best. But the navigating and the basic formulas are where you're going to get the most value out of this. Why do I like using Google Sheets instead of Excel? I find Excel to be really awesome if you have just a metric F ton of data. Like use Excel, right? For accounting and finance, Excel has way more functionality to get deeper, in my opinion. Google Sheets for me is way easier to use, way easier to share, and has a query function that Excel doesn't have that makes recalling data fairly easy from other tabs and other sheets. Also, Excel is owned by Microsoft, the same company that owns the Blue Devil, and I will do nothing to support LinkedIn, even through other channels that Microsoft owns. The Blue Devil is LinkedIn, if you hear me reference that in the future or ever again. So first, let me make a spreadsheet. If you get this reference, you obviously listen to the Chainsmokers. It's a great EDM band. There's a link again. If you did not get the link the first time, Jim is going to type it into the chat for you, so that way you can access it and go there and follow the directions, which say make a copy. You'll notice that the directions for everything will be in the sheet as we go through. Try not to be a recruiter and sourcer and skip ahead to all the other tabs. I know you've all done it already, but like try not to. So show me the buttons. Here is where we're going to go through just the general, like, how do I navigate Google Sheets? So we've got filters that we're going to cover first, and they're in the slides. The only reason I put all this detail in the slides is when you go back, you either are going to listen to my obnoxious voice for an hour or just read the slides again. So I put them in here so you can check it out. So it shows kind of what the filters are, how do we use them, etc. as we go through, what they look like, and how to choose different values. This is also a filter. However, this is not a Google Sheet filter. Data validation is when you have those drop-down menus in the cells where you pick and choose or what options are available within that cell. That's called data validation. I'm going to show you how to make those too. This walks through the general process with you of going and selecting your cell range and choosing your options. Again, this data is here just so I can share a slide deck with you. This is a GIF because too much data in a row makes my head split. So, and then the obvious question, is this from The Bachelor or The Bachelorette? Pop quiz, The Bachelor or The Bachelorette? So if you know the answer to this, everyone on video will applaud you, and that's what you're going to get. And if you don't, wow, Scott, you're both the first to answer that and correct. Yeah. Yep. It is from The Bachelor, not The Bachelorette. How would I know that? Because she's never been a bachelorette. Conditional formatting. This is really cool to help if you want to say like, hey, if this cell says this thing, I want it to appear this way. Really useful for showing like particular colors or bolding or underlining things based on what's put into that cell. It just makes looking at the data a lot easier and more transparent. I think a really important point that I just remembered and had nothing to do with the fact that Jim Schneider just messaged me is why I think Google Sheets are important for recruiters and sourcers. There's a lot of stuff that you're going to do on a daily basis that involves just data and data manipulation. That can be like splitting someone's name when you have like last name, comma, first name. That can be taking a list of things and turning it into their own individual like cells as they go down. This can be aggregating data. So if you have first name and last name and you want to put it together into one name and not have to type out 100 things. If you want to create a Boolean string for yourself, where you're able to create a whole bunch of like or statements when you put a list together, there's a lot you can do within Google Sheets. My entire business functions around it. So I'll show you. Great question, Jim Schneider. Freezing, really important. We are going to work on this to freeze a row and a column. Freezing does a few things. It leaves those things on the page when you scroll left, right, or up, down. It also eliminates what's frozen from sorting. So when you sort, that header row doesn't get resorted, alphabetically. Speaking of sorting, that's what you do, sorting alphabetically, and then find and replace. There's a couple cool tricks with this that I think some people are going to be like, "Holy crap! How did I not know that?" So that's what I was like. So let's jump into our sheets now. There are two options. If you have two monitors, yay for you. Have me up on one and you up on another. If you don't, go back and forth. So if you're going back and forth, look at me right now so I can show you. We're going to follow the directions on each page. Alt tab. Thanks, David. So you'll notice they are numbered. That is the order that we're going to go in on each page. This is a sandbox for you to play around. Again, make sure you go to File, make a copy, and you can make a copy for yourself. Do not download it as an Excel file. Some of these things will not work in Excel. It will not look the same way in Excel, and I cannot help you because I do not use Excel. So number one, how do you make this row so it doesn't move when you scroll down? See, scroll down and it's gone. So you go to View, Freeze, one row. So again, on that bar up top, you go to View, and then you go to Freeze, and then you go to one row. Coincidentally, that is also what you do for one column. And so what you'll notice now is when they're frozen, they have these big old gray bars here, and when you scroll down, that doesn't actually go anywhere. It stays right there. Conversely, when you scroll over, that first column stays right there. So super, super useful, particularly as it relates to keeping the data that you want up top, headers in particular, and so things don't source. What if you want to freeze more than one or two rows or columns? Great question, David. So let's say I want to freeze 4 rows. So if you highlight row 4, so like you click on it, boom, and then go to View, Freeze, you'll see up to row 4. So up to row, X and up to column X are always going to be options here, depending on where you click. Yep. So that is how you freeze stuff. So if you want to go try it on your own, go try it on your own. Click View, click Freeze. Next one we've got is filtering. So it's going to give you tasks now on each page so we can learn how to do the stuff we just learned. So task number 1 is to freeze the top row, bold it, center it, and underline it with a thick line. So if you're split screen, congratulations again. If you are going back and forth, watch me. We're going to freeze the first row, right? That's what it says. So View, Freeze, one row. Top row is frozen. Now it says bold, center, and underline with a thick line. So we're going to highlight these by clicking and just dragging our mouse. And we're going to go to bold, this B, bold it. Center is these weird little like off-center sandwich looking thing over here. When you hover over, it says horizontal align. You click that, and you click the one that looks like they're all in the center. It will center everything. So boom, that center it, and then underline with a thick line. This little box here with all the squares, those are your borders. If you click that, you can choose as you see like the different options of where it'll put the borders. And if you hover your mouse over it, it tells you what all of them do. But we're going to click this one right here where it says border style, right? So you see all those, you see the color, and you see the style. Click the style and choose the thick border is what we said. So underline these with a thick border, and we want to underline it. Check that out. Top row, frozen in place, bolded, centered, thick underline. Crushing it right now. All right, next one we have is delete row 2. What is the easiest way to delete a row? So you see the rows on the side, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Those are rows, columns, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, blah, blah, blah. You right click, or if you're on a Mac, that is 2-finger click on 2, and you go to delete row. So again, you click it, right click or 2-finger click on Mac, delete row. The other option is to click that and go to edit, delete row 2. I've never do that, but if that's your jam, do that. So let's delete the row 2. All right. So if you're doing this on your own, take like 10 seconds and go do that really quick. Highlight, freeze, bold, underline with thick line, delete row 2. I'm going to sip some coffee. Okay. So let's apply filters to the whole sheet. That's going to be the next one. So what is the, again, if you guys have questions, interrupt me either verbally or in the chat. So what is the filter icon? It's this little thing over here that looks actually much more like a funnel than a filter, which I don't quite understand, but that's the native symbol for filter. So it's off here to the right-hand side in this bar next to the summation icon, or the functions, I guess, but that's a summation icon. And so if we want to put a filter on the whole sheet, we can select the whole sheet. How do you select the whole sheet? You can do Control A, or on a Mac, Command A, which will simply highlight the whole sheet like that. Or you can click this little box here between the A and the 1 on the top left, and it will highlight the whole sheet. Once you do that, just click the little filter icon. Boom. Check that out. These little arrows up top, these little green little things, those are your filters. If you see those, you have now applied filters. Congratulations. Cool. I'm glad that you love the Wolverine background. Thank you. It's literally distracting. All right. So in the revolutions now, in that column A, we want to choose people from revolution M1 and M2. What revolution means doesn't matter. What's M1 and M2 doesn't matter. I'm just telling you in this column here, A, we want to choose to only show M1 and M2. So we click that little down filter arrow here, that next to revolution, right? That's how we filter that column. And this will pop up. And this is where you can choose, do we want to sort it? We do not. Do we want to filter it by color? We do not. Do we want to filter it by condition? We do not. We want to filter it by values, which should already be selected 99% of the time. That's what you're going to do. And what I'm going to do here is deselect the ones I don't want. I only want M1 and M2. So I'm selecting all of these and leaving M1 and M2 selected. Conversely, you can do the opposite and clear them, and then scroll down and select M1 and M2 and hit OK. Ta-da! M1 and M2. So this is a time now where if you are doing this on your own, go and take a couple seconds and experiment for yourself. And whoever's unmuted, if you could mute yourself, that would be really super helpful because my ADHD is going bananas right now. Or Scott, if you're there, I guess you could do that also. All right, I think I've given enough filter time. Do we need to change the default filter 1 name to something else? So no, there shouldn't be a default filter name at all, Glenn. So switch back to my screen if you can, and I'll show you real quick what I mean. So when you highlight everything and you click filter, we don't want to do filter views. We don't want to create a new filter view. We're just filtering the entire sheet. So just literally clicking create a filter, and it should auto-populate the triangles up top, in which case you don't actually need to name the view itself. Otherwise, then you're creating a filter view, which will only affect you while you're looking at the sheet, but things start getting slightly more complicated in doing that. So I'm not gonna go into that simply for time sake. So we just want to generally create the filter, click the little down arrow, and only select M1 and M2. And boom, now you know how to filter a page. so that in any column, you can choose specifically what you want to see, right? I can go even deeper with filters and also filter column B for source and only show seek out. Boom. And now your filtering can get as deep as you want based on whatever is in those columns. I'm going to keep going. Again, guys, if you have questions, you have to jump in and cut me off and ask them, because I'm flying through this because I'm on a time crunch, because I don't want to be here for 3 hours, because none of you, I'm sure, allotted that time for this. Next tab, let's hit that data validations tab on the bottom. So we've gone from the freeze tab to the filter tab, and now we're on the data validations tab. So for the data validations, we're going to follow the directions again. Thanks, David. Weird, huh? Oh, Glenn, I actually didn't even realize, dude, that was legitimately a coincidence, man. You've apparently just been in this training every time I've done it. So yeah, there's Glenn. So guys, we're gonna follow the directions again. Step 1, freeze the top row. View, freeze 1 row. We know how to do that already. Bold, center, thick, and underline the top row headers. We know how to do that already. We're gonna highlight those 2 headers we want, bold it, center it, and thick underline it. Boom. That is awesome. And now what we're going to do is set data validation. So if you're off on your own, kind of doing your own thing, you may want to click back over, check out what I'm doing. I'm going to show you how to set up data validations. So I'm just going to read this out loud because this is.
Sorry, you
no
skipped
problem.
the second one, freeze the first column.
Oh yeah, I did. Thanks. See, that's why this is a participatory event. Boom. There it is. Thank you, whoever called that out. I didn't see who you were, but that was awesome. Great. See that? Well, I was just literally explaining. I'm going to read this out loud for all the men who are joining us because I don't have crayons to explain it. And I have obviously proven why I need to read this out loud. So we're going to set data validations for the size column and the color column. And we're going to use the apply from list capability. You're going to see what I mean in a second. We want for the sizes to be small, medium, large, and the colors to be red, blue, yellow. All right. What the heck does that mean? Check this out. Watch me as I go. So for the size column, let's just select the column. B. You can also just select individual sections if you want. We'll make it easy. Let's select column B, and we go to data validations toward the bottom. So again, select the area where you want the data validation to appear. Data up top, and then data validation. And what I've said in here was use the apply from list capability. So that's the criteria here. So we click that and we use list of items. So apply from list. Right? So again, I'm going to go back, select column B entirely by hitting the B up top, click on data from the list up top, go to data validation. And then under criteria, we're going to switch it from list from arrange to list of items. From there, we're going to enter each thing that we want as an option in the dropdown, separated by a comma. You do not have to use spaces. This is a computer, not a Word document. So we're going to go small, comma, medium, comma, large, and click save. And what you'll notice here is that there are these little arrows that you can click, and it gives you the options of what to choose. This is called a data validation. So you'll notice that size has a data validation and it's getting an invalid input. Input must be unselected. That's because size is not one of these 3 options. And so if we want to remove a data validation, it is the same process. Click that cell where we don't want it and go to data validation, and remove validation at the bottom next to save. Again, that is click what cell or cells, go to data validation, remove validation, and that'll take care of that for you. So boom, we knocked out the size column. Let's do the same thing for color. Select column C, go to data up top in the bar, data validation. We want to change the criteria to list of items again and enter each one of them separately. And we wanted red, blue, and yellow as the 3 colors. And we click save. And again, you'll see, oh, look at that. Our options are red and blue and yellow. Wow, that's so cool, Mike. Thank you. So now we're going to remove that data validation from the color field so you don't have that annoying little red error arrow. And when you click it, you click that and go to data. data validation, remove validation. Are you able to actually make the colors? Yes, David. No, that's not advanced. That's literally number 6 on this sheet right now. So totally awesome. Yeah, that is sweet. Thank you. You're sweet too. So here's what we're going to do now, guys. We're going to undo what we just did. 2 options for undoing it. We want to get rid of all the data validations. You can click the undo arrow on the top left, or you can hit Control Z or Command Z on a Mac. So you go Control Z, Control Z, Control Z, Control Z, boom. We just want it back to here. So we've removed all of the data validations. If you go too far and you accidentally remove your formatting or anything, you can also hit this forward arrow or Control Y or Command Y on a Mac. And it will redo the thing you just undid. So that's undo and redo. And now we are going to do number 5, which is use the mod sheet to create the data validations from a range. You'll notice that the very next tab is called mod sheet, not a coincidence. And you'll see that the number 5 on here is use this sheet to create modifiers needed for the previous data validations exercise. So if you're following me along still, you will see on the very next tab, it says, use this sheet to create the modifier. So here's what we're going to do. We now are again going to select the size column, all of column B, and go to data, data validation. And this time under criteria, we're not going to change it. We're going to leave it as list from a range. What that means is list from a range of cells. So you're saying, hey, the options that I want here you to choose from are listed in a group of cells that I'm going to give you. So what we're going to do is choose list from a range, which should already be up there. And then you're going to see that little grid to your right that looks like the borders button up top. If you hover over it and don't click it, you'll notice it pops up and says select data range. That's what we want to do. So let's click that actually. And you'll see a box pop up that says select a data range with an empty field in it. Don't worry about anything except going to the mod sheet and then highlight from A2, so it's a small, down to like I don't know, 20 or A15, A17. It doesn't have to be exact. But you want to choose a whole bunch of cells, including small, medium, large, and then a bunch of the blank ones after it as well. If you don't know what I'm talking about, come back, watch my screen real quick. So we've come to that mod sheet, and I've just literally clicked here and dragged down, boom, and it should say mod sheet, boom, A2 to A17, and let's click OK. Right? Fills it in there for you, and then hit save. Perfect. Now let's go back to those data validations page, and you should see, ta-da, boom, data validations. And it should be the exact same ones. And let's do now the same thing for color. So if you just watched me the last time, go do this one on your own. If you did not watch me last time, here's an opportunity. We're going to select column C. We are going to go to data and data validation. And we're going to leave the criteria section as it is with list from a range. In the box next to it, it says enter a range or formula. We're going to click on that little like 4 squares, the little boxes to the right. And we'll see this box pop up that says select a data range. We're going to click on mod sheet at the bottom, the tab that says mod sheet. And we are going to select from where it says red, blue, yellow. And we're going to select down to, I don't know, row like 13 or 14 or wherever. I don't care. Just more than red, blue, yellow. We're going to click OK. And then it'll pop that info in and hit save. Now we're going to go back to the data validations page and ta-da! Red, blue, and yellow are there as options. If you want to, because you are OCD like I am, remove the data validations from the cell that says size and the cell that says color, you can do that. I'm going to do this for the last time so it doesn't take up much more of your time. You can highlight those or choose one at a time. Go to data, data validation, and remove validation. Easiest way to do that. I cannot fathom that more of you don't have questions, so I assume you're watching cartoons in the background, so totally cool. Hopefully my voice isn't distracting for what you're doing. And all right. Why did we do it 2 different ways? That seems not super logical. Check this out, guys. If you're not watching me, give me a quick watch. Using it from the mod sheet is what I do every time that I possibly can. And here's why. So you have these sizes, right? Small, medium, and large. Well, oh, shoot. I forgot the size extra large and extra, extra large. Oh, no. What do I do? Do I have to redo the whole data validation? Nope. Go to your mod sheet and literally add in right under large and say extra large. And then you can do XXL. And then you can do, basically a blanket, right? Boom. And as you're typing them in, if you go back, they're now options for you. So why did it go below row 13? Richard, can you explain your question in just slightly more detail, and I will answer it for sure. This is, yeah.
You said you chose row like 2 through 13. When you
I just picked a random number.
But it went further than that, it looks like, with the arrows.
Yeah. So the row 2 through 13 was on the mod sheet. And what I was selecting was, so if we choose this, size, data validation, right? We're doing a list from a range. And what I'm telling the computer at this point is selecting the data range. And so when I come to the mod sheet, I'm saying, hey, I want these cells. So from A1, which I don't actually want, A2 through A19, anything in these cells are going to be the options for the data validations. So when you click OK here, what you're going to see is the cell range that's listed here. That is actually going to be all of column B. I'm assuming when I click this, it says B1 through B1000. Yeah. So this is actually the cells where the data validation appears. This here is where the options within that data validation are. So all of the things that will be in the drop downs as you pick them.
Okay, thank you.
That track? Yeah, no problem, man. Great question. So if you want to be really slick, you can change this from B2 to B1000. So that way you don't include the header row. But the more you mess around with it, you'll get there. So again, yeah, thanks for the question. So now we found the usefulness of using a mod sheet as opposed to filling it in naturally. Because again, same thing with color. I could add like orange and purple and whatever other colors I wanted here, and the data validation will automatically start including them. Super useful. By the way, if you're using this for like your team and you're like, oh, hey, we want to know who found these candidates or who interviewed them or whatever, it becomes a royal pain in the you-know-what when you add new people to your team to have to update all of the validations on every page. So instead, if you're using a mod sheet, you just update it here, and then boom, one update, and they're all updated. The next question I got from David Marr is being answered right now. Use conditional formatting so all the colors in column C turn their cell into that color when they're selected. Wouldn't that be so awesome? Right? Like if a candidate status was not interested, if it turned red, and if it was scheduling interview, it turned green, right? That'd be really awesome. Well, you can do that. So again, we're going to click column C, and we are going to go to Format, Conditional Formatting, and this pops up. Yeah, David, the stoplight coloring is really, really useful for that exact thing. I have a whole bunch of them. Like for bounced emails, it's a black background with white writing. For people who say unsubscribe, it's a red background with white writing. That's a strike through. There's so many different options that you can choose. So again, I'm going to repeat this and show you again. Column C, Format, Conditional Formatting. And this will pop up on the right side of your screen. We want this to apply to the range C1 to C1000. So cell C1, which is the top one that says color, all the way to C1000. Cool. We don't want it to say if it's not empty, although maybe you do. So you see it says format rules, format cells if. You click where it says is not empty, and you have a whole bunch of options. We're going to do text is exactly. So format rules, text is exactly, and let's start with the first color. The first one would be red, so capital R-E-D. And down here, you'll notice formatting style, the little paint bucket that hopefully we're all familiar with when we were kids playing with Microsoft Paint. We click that, and we're going to change it to red, because that is what we wanted, is that When it was red, it turned to the color red. That color is aggressively too bright for me, so I'm choosing a different color red. And we click done. And then we should be able to add another rule. When we add another rule, it's going to open that page again. We're going to go C1 to C1000. Perfect. We're going to choose format rules. Text is exactly. And we're going to do the same thing with blue, capital B, lowercase LUE. Choose a little paint bucket and choose blue as the background and click done. And then we're going to add another rule. And we're going to do the same thing. Format cells if text is exactly yellow, capital Y, lowercase ELLOW. Background color is yellow. Click done. And that's it right here. You conditional format rules. You can close this. You can hit the X and close that out. And then when you choose the colors, you'll notice they change that color. That is how you do conditional formatting. You can also set within conditional formatting to see cool stuff like bold the text. Like if it's yellow, if it's red, maybe you want the text bolded and the text color to be white because, I don't know, you want to be cool like that. So you have a whole bunch of options in terms of the formatting itself. But what you're saying is, hey, this is the rule. If the text is this, or the date is before that, or the number is greater than this, whatever that format is, if you're looking at my screen, you know what I'm talking about. You can choose that as the rule, and then what the actual conditional formatting will look like afterwards. What happens if I typed the colors using all lowercase in the conditional format rules? Yellow. Because we have text is exactly, that should, unless I'm mistaken, eliminate that from being yellow. Nope, still works. So thanks, Sierra. Works either way. Apparently capitalization does not matter to Google Sheets. You are welcome. So cool. I'm going to move on from conditional formatting, unless anybody has any questions. Dope. Moving on to sort. All right, step number 1, freeze this top row. View, freeze, 1 row. Hopefully that has become second nature now. It is the first thing I do every time I start using a spreadsheet. And then we want to sort these states alphabetically. So there's a couple of different ways to do this. One is to select the entire column A. You can right click and just go to sort sheet, A to Z, Z to A. All right, so when you do that, boom, A to Z. It'll take any blank cells that you have, or rows that you have in this case, and move them to the bottom. So I'm going to repeat that one more time. So if you had stuff written over here, right, whatever that is, and you were to sort, so you select the whole column, right click or 2-finger click on the Mac, and go to sort A to Z, you'll notice this blank row, right? Blank row. I'm just going to write next to it so that we know where it was. Sort sheet A to Z. Check it out. The blank row gets moved to the bottom. So if you want to know, how do I eliminate blanks? That's how you eliminate blanks. And what you'll notice is when you select the entire column, everything in column B, C, D, all the way to the end, move with it. So watch again. I just undid and I'm going to redo. Look at Wyoming, for example. It's got this long ass string next to it in column B. I'm going to redo with Control Y. Check that. It moved with it. So that's normally what you're going to want to do when you're sorting, is sort the entire sheet based on one of the columns. But let's say you don't. Let's say that's not actually what you want to do. You're like, hey, it's really important that all of these things here, these random typings of mine, stay in those rows. I only want to sort the states alphabetically. So you're going to highlight the states now. Again, that's clicking and dragging down. Right click, 2-finger click on a Mac. I'm going to stop saying that. I'm assuming you know that now. And you go to view more cell actions at the bottom. And you can go to sort range. So what you'll notice is if you select the whole column and right click, it says sort sheet A to Z. That is all the rows. And you highlight and click view more cell actions, sort range is just the cells that you highlighted. And what you can do now is click sort, and you'll notice the things next to it don't move. Right? So if you're watching my screen, you'll notice that really long ASG blah, 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 is not next to Wyoming anymore because I sorted that sheet. I also don't know why there's 2 Oregons in here, but I did that in Idaho. So hopefully that makes sense. Sorting the whole sheet, you select the column, right click or 2-finger click, go to sort sheet. If you want to select just the individual set of data, you just highlight it, right click, view more cell actions, which is the bottommost option, and go to sort range. So hopefully that is tracking for everybody. I don't see any questions, so I'm gonna keep rocking and rolling. If you have questions about stuff we've already done, that's cool too. Just ask. I can go back and show people some stuff. Yeah, no problem. Oh, Jay Schneid. Wow, thanks, man. Don't worry, I got other cool stuff coming. Ready? Watch this. All right. We want to remove the +1 from in front of these. So I don't know if you guys ever like pull phone numbers from places and they've got this +1 in front of them. If your option is click in each of these cells and go delete, 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 then click in this cell and go delete, 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 delete. No, false. My ADHD will not allow for that. There's got to be a faster way to do this. So how do you do it? Highlight the section that you want. And we're going to hit Control F or Command F on a Mac. It brings up your find function. So Control F, and you'll see it says find in sheet. Don't type anything yet. Don't type anything yet. Hit the 3 dots on the right. So if you just move your mouse like 2 inches to the right, it'll say more options, 3 dots, hit that. And now find and replace is what appears. There's a keyboard shortcut for this. I never remember what it is. And maybe like Control R. And we want to find +1. Do I have a sample sheet filled out with all the data as a sample to refer to? I sure do. Sure do. Yes, I've gone through this entire sheet and have all of the quote unquote answers in there. So yes. So we want to replace this with, yeah, no problem. I'll share it with everybody. +1, we want to replace with nothing. We want it removed. So don't type anything in there and just simply hit replace all. Boop. And now you'll notice all of the +1s are gone. Yay. That's so cool. However, interestingly enough, you'll notice there's a space before this now. We don't want a space before that. So if we undo what we just did, Control Z or that back arrow, and we do the same thing again. So Control F or Command F for find and hit the 3 dots. We now want to find +1 space. +1 space. Cool. And again, we don't want to replace it with anything. We click replace all. Now you'll notice it eliminated the space in front of the numbers also. So now it's actually cleanly written like a phone number. So like, yay, that's awesome. Really cool way to like just clean data up, right? So if you've got a whole bunch of like addresses, yeah, +1 space. Cool, I'm glad that made it easier. I've got another couple of tricks around that actually as well. Because where you're gonna run into problems with that, I'll teach you in a second. Don't worry about it now. But yes, glad that helped. Have you guys ever pasted like links to websites in here and all of a sudden they're not like clickable websites? And like the only thing you can do is either click it and like hyperlink it and then copy and paste that in here, or like double click it and then hit enter on everyone. I'll enter, which is, by the way, absolutely exhausting. Have you guys, anybody ever have this like same thing happen to them? Yeah. Hey, Jim, you ready for, and anybody else who's doing this right now? Ready for this? Watch this. Select the whole cell, the whole column, hit Control F again, go into find, and then go find and replace. Watch, ready? Find the letter H and replace it with the letter H. Replace all. Done. All clickable links now. What if it's not the letter H? It doesn't matter. It just has to be a letter that they all have in common. You choose letter W too, or whatever it is. Yeah. And just like that, they're all, I know. This took me like a year to find out. And I was just like, son of a, dang it. I spent all that time like click it, like click this, copy and paste up here. Yeah. So boom, select all, find and replace, and just select a letter that's in all of them. I choose H because HTTPS, obviously. And then find and replace that with itself. And they turn into hyperlinks. I don't know why that works, but it does. Cool. If there's no other questions, I'm sliding along. Keyboard shortcuts. This is where most people are like, holy crap, I didn't know I could do that. So we've got a lot of stuff on this page. We're going to have a good time. So there are a few different options here. We're going to start with number 1, but there's a few options of getting to the bottom of the sheet without scrolling. So getting to the bottom of the sheet without scrolling, we can either, if we look on our keyboard, there's a button that says end. You can hit end and it will take you, in mine, it takes you horizontally because my keyboard is set up differently. That can take you all the way to the bottom. You can technically grab the scroll bar on the right side and drag it down. That is cheating. Objectively, that is cheating. Or you can highlight. You don't have to highlight and hit Control down. So hold Control and hit the down button. And what you'll notice is it takes you to the next empty cell or 646 it should be. And if you were to hit Control down again, boom, it takes you to the very bottom of the sheets, row 1146. Conversely, if you hit Control up, it'll take you from the empty cell you're in to the first cell with stuff in it, Curtis. And if you hit Control up again, it'll take you all the way to the top of the sheet. Now, if you're watching me or doing this yourself and you go from Curtis and you hit Control up, you're like, whoa, 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 I thought you said it would bring me to the top of the sheet, but it didn't bring me to the top of the sheet. Nothing moved. Hit the down arrow just once. What it did is it brought you up into the cell in the frozen row. And so nothing had to move on the page to get you there. So once you hit the down arrow, it'll bring you to the row beneath it and your whole page will shift up. So we want to delete all of the extra or empty rows in column A. So to delete all of the extra or empty rows in column A, there's a few different options that we can do here, right? When we hit Control down, we get to Curtis. We can either hit 647 and then drag your mouse all the way down to the bottom, which is exhausting and painful for someone with ADHD to just sit here this whole time while it's scrolling. Done. Or you can select this row and scroll all the way to the bottom. If you want to get arthritis in your thumb, that is totally cool. And then hit Shift and hold Shift and click 146. Boom, highlights everything. Which is cool, but again, the arthritis in the thumb, not the greatest thing in the world. Or highlight row 647 and hit Control Shift down. And that will then highlight all of the rows. So Control down and Control up, similar to Control left and Control right, are what enable you to move to the end of wherever the data is filled in, or conversely, all of the empty rows. Control and Shift will allow you to highlight all of those rows. So you don't have to scroll anymore. You can just hit Control down or Control Shift down if you want to just select everything. And then all we have to do is go to either Edit, Delete rows, or simply right click and go to delete rows 647 through 1146. So hopefully everybody is still following on this. If not, ask any questions. Select the whole column without scrolling. We literally just went through that entire process, so we don't have to do that again, which is great. I'm going out of order, sorry. You could also obviously just click on the A, but the Control Shift down, easiest way to do this. It also works horizontally. So if you look to the right a little bit, you'll see in cell D2, number 5 says select these without scrolling. You click on Lee in E2 and hit Control Shift right. You'll notice it selects every name all the way to the right until column A, B. Really simple way to move your cursor to the end of something or to select everything in a range. So Control and a direction gets you to the end. Control Shift and a direction highlights everything to the end, which is fun. So we're moving on to number 6. I still don't see any questions, so y'all must be crushing this right now. You'll see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in these cells. How do you keep filling these in, right? So we've got the numbers here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and like let's say Graham, Maria, Dean, Jim, and Nicole, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we want to number everybody else going all the way down. Super useful if you have a data set and you want to know how many things there are, right? Like just everything gets its own number. Check this out, guys. Literally highlight 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 like this. And Google Sheets is smart enough to understand there's a pattern here. This pattern is pretty obvious. You'll see a blue dot on the bottom right, blue square, excuse me, on the bottom right of your highlighted section. If you hover your mouse over it, your mouse turns into a little cross. just double click it. And check that out. Auto formatted all the way to the bottom. So that is the easiest way to do that. Again, if we were not watching, you highlight 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It will detect a pattern there. And the little blue square on the bottom right corner, hover your mouse over and double click. Fills in all the way down. Now, what if you're like, oh yeah, but I actually want to go like A, B, C, and all that all the way down. A, B, C, ready? Highlight all 3. Select again. Oh, that'll repeat it. Sorry. I have to change the format. I'm not going through this right now with you. For the numbers, that'll work that way. If you want to get really crazy with it, you can format it into plain text, and it'll work its way all the way down, understanding the formula for it. But for now, let's leave it at 1, 2, 3, and 4, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then number it all the way down. Cool. I know I'm running low on time, so I'm going to keep moving through this. Number 7 on the page, copy these names below into a different cell. So I want to copy Graham, Maria, and Dean into a different cell. This is a trick question. When you go to do that, and you select that cell, and you hit Control-C for copy, or you go to Edit Copy, and you click on a new cell, and you hit Control-V, or go to Edit Paste, you'll notice the names are different, which is weird. Why in the world is that happening? That's really frustrating. Well, if you look in cell D11, where Graham, Maria, and Dean are located, you'll notice it's actually a formula. And you'll notice that formula is A11 space A12 space A13. And when you copy and paste that, you'll notice it shifts the numbers from A11, 12, and 13 to A whatever the difference is between the number of cells where you pasted that, right? So there's 2 cells in between it. So it would go 11 and then 14. So it'd be 11 and then blank cell would be 12 and this would be 13. This one's 14, right? 15, 16. So if you want to paste something where you're getting the data without the formula, that is called paste values only. So you copy it just like normal, Control-C, Command-C, or if you want to go crazy, you can go to Edit Copy. And then you want to click a cell and go to Edit, Paste Special. You never clicked in there. This is a cool time to do that. And go to Values Only. And what it will do then is instead of pasting the formula, it will paste just the return from the formula. A keyboard shortcut for that is Control-Shift-V. So instead of just Control-V, it's Control-Shift-V, and that will paste values only. Very useful when you have a formula and you want to paste just the data that the formula is returning. So we have hit all our keyboard shortcuts now. So if anybody has questions, now's the time to ask them. I have like 3 minutes before I move into formulas. We're going to do split and concatenate, and that's going to be pretty much all we have time for, which legitimately are like the really big ones. The rest are on here for you to play around with. And if anybody is interested, I'm putting my email in the chat. Y'all can reach out and I will share with you the fully completed version of this. But split, really interesting. So we want to split this into just its cities and its states, right? Let's say you have a column, right? This is how whatever data you have is exported. And you're like, oh, but I actually have a separate column for city and state. Are you actually going to write for each of these Anchorage and then Alaska and this? No, please, for the love of God, please don't do that. That is exhausting. Instead, we're going to use a formula. How to use formulas. You click the cell where you want the formula to be, and you hit the equals sign. From there, you pick whatever formula you want. We're going to choose split. So you type in S-P-L-I-T. Once you start typing, it's going to auto-populate a bunch. Split comes up, click it. And now you should see a little blue box with a question mark next to it, right next to your formula. When you hover over it, it says, turn on formula help. Let's do that. In here, it actually shows you what the formula is, what it does, and how it works. So if you hit the little down arrow, you can expand the details, and it will literally show you what each section of this does. It's pretty helpful. And so what we're seeing, the main part of this is the text and the delimiter, meaning what is the thing that we're going to split it by? What are we looking for in that cell? In here, it would be the comma. So we want to split this cell. So we just click it. You'll notice it populates. And then you'll notice there's a comma here. So split and then comma. Okay, so split, comma. And then we want to choose a comma as the split point. So we're going to put the comma in quotes because it's natural language. We don't want it to appear as part of the formula. And we're going to close the parenthesis. So again, if you're actually looking at the split formula and you go to help, what you're going to notice here is it says text and then the delimiter. So we want to separate by a comma. If we want to separate by a comma or any character for that matter, you always have to put it inside of quotes. So the computer knows that this is not a formula. This is actually a letter or a number or a character. And when you do that, check this out. Boom. But wait, there's a space before the A in Alaska. All right. What do? We've learned this from the last time we did this, right? We put a space after the comma. So we want to split this by comma space. Hit enter, and you'll notice it is course corrected. Alaska's at the beginning. Again, we can click on this if we want to expand this formula beneath it. Click the cell, see the blue box, click it, and drag it down. And all of a sudden, you notice, whoa, that worked for everything. But what the hell happened in New Jersey? That's weird. Well, there's an interesting weird thing about this formula. It will count everything in the delimiter section, so everything in this second space after the comma, as a delimiter. And so what you're seeing here is it's actually a comma and a space. So it's saying anytime you see a comma or a space, I want you to separate that. How do you fix this? Well, if you look at the help box, it says split by each. So that means each character within there. And then you can mark that as either true or false. Well, I want that to be false. I don't want it to do that. So I type in comma, false. And check this out. Boom. Now it is only separated by the comma space, not the comma or the space. And that is how you can split things into their own columns. Concatenate works the exact opposite. It is to combine, I know I'm at 1 o'clock. It is to combine things together. So you would, in order to do this, hit equals and type in concatenate, select it, and again, select the little question mark next to it, and it'll show you how it works. And you literally just choose the things. So the first thing, and then a comma, the second thing, and then a comma, third thing, and then a comma. So you can either write things like, hey, comma, right? And then I want a space. Jim Schneider, boom, right? Hey, Jim Schneider. Or you can select cells. So I can actually remove this and go, I want to say Batman is the greatest. Yeah, that should work, right? Nope. There's no spaces between them. So what do? See the formula up here in the formula bar? Boom. So now let's just put in quote, space, quote. So now it knows it's a quote and then a comma. Quote, space, quote, and then a comma. Quote, space, quote, and then a comma. There it is. You built a concatenate function. Really useful when you just have stuff in different cells that you want to combine into one cell for ease of use or reporting or whatever it is. Bye, Jody. Yeah, so I know I'm out of time. Sorry for going a couple minutes over. This is just the beginning. There's, you can tell if you scroll down or you're watching my screen, there is a ton more in just the basic formulas. And then going into advanced formulas, things go bananas. That's when you're really moving on to like calling data from different sheets and blah, blah, blah. It is great for building URLs. Like, what's a really good use case for this? If you're watching my screen, which you should right now, I actually built a Boolean builder for this. So we have a Boolean builder that turns things into or statements. So I can do, Jim, Mike, Lara, Patty, David. Sorry, y'all are just the ones on my screen right now, right? And you'll see over here, it actually turns them into an or statement, right? Paul, Peter, Mary, Jim, Jack, whatever. Boom, check it out. It's now a full or statement. So you can basically take a list of companies or whatever you wanted, right? Like I think I had in here before this, a list of, these are SaaS video companies. So I just pasted in the list of SaaS video companies and boom, turns it into an or statement. Well, check out the formula for this. That's your formula. Boom. And if you're wondering, holy, what the hell is that? This is this formula. It's an advanced formula, a fairly advanced formula, but you can build things like this to turn lists into usable things like Boolean Builder. And so that is, I'm going to stop there again, so I don't lose like everybody on here because I'm past time. And again, apologies. It is a lot of data, and it's a lot of formulas and stuff like this. Yeah, Sheena, it is, and that's just the beginning. It's honestly just the beginning. I know it seems like a lot, but once you get down into some of the crazier stuff, like if statements, you can start really getting crazy. Transpose split is really cool, right? So like if you look at this list here, you ever have a list that like has the commas in it, and you're like, oh, I need each of these to be in their own cell, and so you start typing them all. Nah, check that. You can actually, if you're watching my screen, you can go transpose split. It's cell A32. We want it split by a comma and a space. No, we don't want both of them counted. And watch this, transpose split, boom. Just immediately transposes them and puts them down in their own cells. So like there's a ton of different things you can do. In advanced formulas, you can go even crazier and actually pull data from other sheets. And you can query data based off of certain things. Like, hey, only pull back these columns if this header is this, or if this number is greater than. There's just a ton of options that you can use for reporting, for data aggregation, whatever it is. So yeah, great question. I actually did this full training as a workshop with HRTX and Recruiting Daily. Gosh, like a month ago. It's like I think you can still get access to the recording. It's like $100 or something. So yeah, short answer is I tend to do it a lot. That's it. That's all I got. I mean, it's not all I got. It's all I have time for.
Well, thank you, Mike. That was awesome. And I'll definitely learned some cool tricks. So I hope everyone else did. I did want to let everyone know that we did a drawing during the presentation, and we have some winners here. We have Ashley Hughes. She won an individual membership. Brock Kringle, Kara Hernandez, Philip Kelly, all won individual memberships. Hillary Rose already had a membership, so she won an extra year on her membership. So congratulations, everyone. We appreciate you guys coming out. And like I said, Batman, you've got a free membership too.
Winning.
Awesome. Well, thank you all very much for coming out today. Be sure to check in with us next month. We're going to have speaker Shannon Pritchett out. So very excited about that presentation. So be sure to look for that on our website and get registered for it. So thank you very much. This recording will be sent out to everyone that's joined the meeting today. Thank you very much.
Thank you.